Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Monday, the 21st of April, 2025. Well, here we go again. Today was Matchday because it's Easter Monday, bank holiday. Confident Millwall see off Canaries. This is the match report from millwallfc.co.uk from today's 3-1 win over Norwich City in the Sky Bet Championship at the Den. Mihailo Ivanovic's double was sandwiched by a goal from Femi Aziz as the Lions kept in touch with the top six in the division. Shane Duffy's goal in first half stoppage time acting as no more than consolation. Head coach Alex Neil had to make do without Billy Mitchell and George Honeyman for the visit of the Canaries, with the duo missing out through injury. More injuries. Jafet Tangang and George Saville coming into the 11 in their place, while Zach Sturge returned from injury to replace Ryan Leonard, who was among the substitutes, which meant Kramer was played at right back. Again, rather weird. I don't know what that was about. The Canaries were able to enjoy large spells of possession early on, but with Mill's first attack they scored, albeit in fortunate circumstances. The ball was worked out to the left-hand side, and Aziz, I think that means, and after the winger drilled the ball across goal, it struck Ivanovic and deflected past Vicente Reyes in the Norwich goal, the Serbians' 11th of the campaign. Now, yes, you notice that doesn't say George Long in the Norwich goal. Having conceded 5 goals at home last season and the last game, George Long was relieved of his duties for the third choice goalkeeper. I imagine that the abuse that you would get by the Millwall fans stick, not like harsh abuse, just like Mickey taking and stuff like that. How would he react to that? And they think, well, he conceded 5 against Portsmouth, and he's going to concede here. So there you go. But then you would imagine, how good is this keeper if he's behind George Long in the pecking order? Well, we found out, not too good at all. Jake Cooper headed wide, and Casper Denor's through ball to Aziz was cut out in the last-ditch attempt as the Lions looked to act on the opener and go for more. Aziz had a strike block behind, and then the visitors had to undertake some vital defending following a thunderous Tanganga challenge on Josh Sargent before Aziz was again involved on 19 minutes, sending a ball over the top where Ivanovic perhaps could have got onto before Reyes, only for the goalkeeper to rush out and clear it away from danger. That was kind of weird. Like, all he had to do was touch the ball forwards. He would have got on it. But I think he was mindful that he was going to get clattered by the keeper, much like Robertson Mateta. So I think he pulled out, but he just stopped. It's kind of weird, but yeah. Norwich's first attempt, meanwhile, came in the 32nd minute as Sargent and Borja Sainz broke away, but the former flashed an effort past the far post of George Evans. With 7 minutes to play until the break, the Lions had 2, as Saville's free kick was floated into the area. Aziz was situated well at the front post to rise highest and nod past Reyes to double Millwall's lead. Yeah, in-swinging ball, so basically, even if he would have jumped up and just ducked out, it could have went in, because it would have, but just when you jump up to an in-swinging ball, just got to get a slight little touch on it, You don't have to you don't have to ping it, because Kramer was doing a couple of them, where he's fully twisting his neck on the balls, and the balls were going wide. You just have to get a slight little touch on it and just nick it, because obviously the defenders and the goalkeeper are following the flight of the ball. And you're there, maybe 6 yards away from the goal. You get a slight touch, and you deflect it past the goalkeeper, hopefully into the net, and happy days. And Aziz did that. Just before the break, the Lions moved the ball out to the right-hand side through Luke Cundall and Tristan Kramer, but the latter's cross was gathered by Reyes before it could reach Josh Coburn. Norwich, however, were able to reduce the arrears 4 minutes into the 3 allotted for stoppage time. So interesting. there, probably complaining about the time, with Duffy heading home at the back post. Yeah. Aziz through ball almost found Coburn as the second half got underway before a neat passage of play involving Tanganga, Denor and Saville ended with the midfielder striking wide on 48 minutes. The Lions then won back possession and Ivanovic fed Aziz, whose shot was tipped onto the side netting by Reyes before Kundal looked to take advantage of a loose ball inside the area and thrash home, only to be denied by a fantastic block from Norwich captain Kenny McLean. I wanted to mention something, I just remembered. So their goal that they scored just before the half-time, I think Coburn could have done better with that. He was on the line. It was coming at him fast, but it was like slow motion where he's like lifted his leg to like deflect it wide. He kind of turned his body, which meant that when it hit his leg, it went towards the goal. It went into the goal. If he'd have just stood there and did nothing, it probably would have been better. It probably would have been better getting. It would have just come straight back out. Would have hit him and bounced out. But, it is what it is. A delightful Saville free kick delivery was glanced wide by Cramer. Yeah, that was one of the ones I was talking about. As the Lions sought a third of the afternoon shortly before the hour mark, before the same combination happened 2 minutes later, only for the Frenchman to nod wide at the near post this time. Coburn had the ball in the net on 66 minutes, but his header was ruled out by an offside flag. That was an offside. I don't think that was offside. However, 3 minutes later, the Lions had their... he wasn't offside, though. They gave Ivanovic his offside for some reason. I think... I don't understand it. However, 3 minutes later, the Lions had their third, as another Saville delivery which this time glanced home by Ivanovic for goal number 12 of his season, calming the nerves inside the den in the process. Millwall then mounted an attack off the back of a strong punch from Evans, but after Coburn's run took him inside the box, his cross was struck towards goal by Casper Nor when the better option was to put the ball on a plate for Ivanovic. Sargent was inches away from putting Millwall through more nerves as he couldn't reach a cross at the back post before Ryan Wintle, Aaron Connolly and Macaulay Langstaff were brought on late for fresh legs as 2-goal Ivanovic received a standing ovation from three sides of the stadium. Tanganga's deflection unfortunately went wide of the post as Norwich looked to set up a grandstand finale in lucky circumstances, with the Lions then seeing out the remaining moments of injury time well to cap a confident win in SE16. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Now the thing is, having, I think, Tanganga and Cramer there, it helped us a lot in terms of keeping the chances down. Because, as I mentioned before, the keeper that we've got in goal, everyone's saying, what a job he did today. Go back and look and see, they had 4 shots all game and they had 1 shot on target. How many goals did they score? 1. How many shots on target did Blackburn have? 6. They scored 4 goals. So you need to keep the shots down, and you need to definitely keep the shots on target down. And that's what we did today. A big part of that was Tanganga, and I think a big part of that as well was Saville and Denor in the midfield, doing all the whole front line really with the pressing that they were doing to the Norwich team. We don't have a team here. Did it not load up? I'm going to try and reload it, see if it loads up. Okay, well that's fantastic. It's gone completely. Is my internet working? Yeah. Okay, that's annoying. Okay, I think so many people are going on the Millwall website that it can't handle it. They're probably trying to get tickets for Burnley away. Let's try it again, see if the team pops up. No, it's loaded. We got the match. Nah, we ain't got it. So we got the match stats. It's a crowd of 16,426, 2,766 away fans. Condal got booked. Other than that, not a lot going on. yeah, fantastic performance. But, we did a job. We did the job that we had to do. But again, going forward, I'm kind of shocked that we still went with George Evans in goal, to be honest. Now, obviously, it's a short turnaround. It's Easter Sunday. Like, if you're calling people up on Easter Sunday, they probably won't even pick up the phone. So it was always going to be an uphill task to get a 7-day emergency goalkeeper in on loan for the game on Monday. But you've got 5 days now, and you can go until, I believe, 12 o'clock on Saturday for the Swansea game, or next Saturday. If the club, Steve Gallen, if they don't sign a professional goalkeeper to play, then I think the club's just given up. And you think, well, no, why would they do that? No, here's the thing: the club are looking around. They know we're not ready for it yet, on the pitch and off the pitch. If we do get promoted, you have to spend millions of pounds to improve the stadium. There's certain criteria that you need to have, like ground grading, but they let you come up and then do it. They don't just ban you. It's not like going from in the non-league where the ground grading, they just say no, you're not coming up. But even if you win the league, you romp the league, and say, well, yeah, I'm gonna do the ground improvements in the summer. They'll go, no, you need to have your ground ready before you come up. Premier League ain't like that. They do let you improve it. Because here's the thing, if you have to spend £3 million to improve your ground to get a prize of 100 million from being in the Premier League, and all that comes with it, the TV fees, the prize money, the extra ticket sales, all of this stuff, of course you're going to do it. It's a no-brainer. Like, you could, anybody in the world would lend you that money if you didn't have that money. It's like, okay, so you spend 3 million and then in 12 months' time you're going to have 100 million? Okay, that sounds like a great deal. But, the club is saying, the club said earlier in the season, the new guy, Mark Fairbrother, is that his name? He said, we want to be Premier League ready by 2030. Okay. But, you've got to do what you can with what you have where you are. If we're here now, we're here now. Is it ideal? No, it's not ideal. But you can't just be dropping players or saying, oh no, tell the manager, look, I don't think we can't really afford to get into the playoffs, so can you not do that? And you think, well, why would they do that? Well, they started selling, pitch hire for the Den. And some of the days were from when the playoff semi-finals are supposed to be happening. So they clearly didn't think and expect that we were going to get in the playoffs. Now, obviously, you can say, well, they can just, after the fact, obviously, you would imagine that Millwall fans would hire out the Millwall pitch, so they could just say to them, look, guys, we're in the playoffs now. We're going to have to cancel your things. We'll move it to another day. Is that okay? And then, of course, they're going to say it's okay. But it's the mentality. It's like, you genuinely didn't think that we were going to get into the playoffs, so you started selling pitch hire. Like, you started doing this. What other things have they been doing behind the scenes? Probably booking processing the players' holiday forms, so they get paid holiday because they're on PAYE. So they probably, they doing shit like that. Like, what are they doing? And here's the thing: if they don't get a keeper in, then you would imagine that they're not trying. They're genuinely not trying. Because we'll see. We'll see what happens, but especially when we have news about Jensen, which got put up today, which will be in probably about 10 minutes time. We're gonna go with this first. By the way, you see these shirts? They look very clean, by the way. You can buy these shirts. Yep, another shirt auction. So, Millwall beat Norwich City 3-1 in the Sky Bet Championship on Easter Monday. Take a look at the best of the action below as the Lions secured a 4th straight home win. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There you go. Number 26 with number 11. By the way, he's now scored more goals this season than Zion Fleming. You remember him? By the way, that's Zach Sturge. By the way, I believe that's his first start today. I did okay. Obviously, I think a bit nervous at the start. A few misplaced passes, slipping over, but after that, really came into the game. Tanganga was incredible as well with the little thing that he's got in his hand. I don't know if you can see it there. Not really. Yeah, it seems to be. It's more than a cast. I think there's some like plastic thing underneath it. I don't know if it comes off or what. If they like put it on. If he's got like a basic cast bandage, and then there's a thing that goes over it, and then there's wrapping that goes over that. It kind of looks like that. So I imagine that would be a fucking annoying to do that if he does that every day. Obviously for training as well. Is he doing contact training or just fitness training? That was the other goal there. Great stuff. Yep. There's everyone at the end. Go. That's the other. So here we go. We got a picture with the 3 goalkeepers in. So he's there again as the third choice goalkeeper, Dylan Adai, and Jacob Praswozny was on the bench again. Again, I'm not digging these players out, but he didn't have a lot to do today. What he did do, he did well. His kicking's very good, but man. Realistically, like I said, any shot on target, probably 80% of the shots that go on target are going to end up in goals. So what we did well today is that we reduced that. In fact, that they only had 4 shots and 1 shot on target all game. And how many goals did they score? They scored 1. Now, here's the thing. If we keep him in goal, we're going to have to do the same thing against Swansea. And then the same thing against Burnley. Providing that we win the Swansea game. By the way, that there, the geezer on the bib, that looks to me like Daniel Kelly. Yeah, Daniel Kelly was back on the bench. George Evans there. I should probably tell you the team. I can pull it up on my phone and just read it out to you. Because it hasn't came up here. Actually, it might be on this. Is it on this? Nah, it's not on that. Okay. Right. I'll tell you the team, don't worry. So the team was as follows. George Evans, Zach Sturge at left back, Jake Cooper, Japhet Tanganga, Tristan Crammer at right back, George Saville and Casper De Norre in front of them, Luke Cundle, Ivanovic and Femi Aziz, and Josh Coburn. The substitutions were Ryan Wintle on for Casper De Norre in the 81st minute. Aaron Connolly on for Luke Cundle in the 87th minute. Mihailo Ivanovic came off for Macaulay Langstaff in the 88th minute. And then in the 90th minute, Edomu Maku came on for Femi Aziz. And Ryan Leonard came on for Zach Sturge. And the unused substitutes were Daniel Kelly, Wes Harding, Jacob Praswozny, and AJ Matthews. So there you go. Now, moving on to this. Like I said earlier, if the time is now, the time is now. Now, why would the time be now? Because, bizarrely, bizarrely, when I mean every single result we needed to go our way went our way today. It went our way today. And we're going to read all the results and then I'll tell you which ones went our way. So this is from Monday today. Cardiff 1, Gareth Rouse Oxford 1, Millwall 3, Norwich 1, Plymouth 3, Coventry 1. That one went our way. Hull 2, Preston 1, West Brom 1, Derby 3. That one went our way. Sunderland 0, Blackburn 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Middlesbrough 1. That one went our way. In fact, Middlesbrough scored very early on in that game, and then they equalised in about the 55th minute, and then they went on to win Sheffield Wednesday. So, boom, there you go. Portsmouth 1, Watford 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1, Swansea 2. We play Swansea next week. Leeds 6, Stoke 0. Luton 3, Bristol City 1. That one went our way. And I didn't think it was going to, but Luton took the lead, and then I think then they went to 1-1, and I thought, oh, well, it's a matter of time. Yeah, Bristol City gonna take the lead again. No. It was Luton scored, and then this was at the end of the night, late kickoff. Burnley 2, Sheffield United 1, which means that Burnley are now promoted. Burnley are a Premier League team, So when we play them last day of the season, obviously there is still a chance that they could win the league, but their objective was just to get back to the big show, the Premier League. They've done that. How hard will they try on the last day of the season? I don't know. So, as you can see by the colour coding on the table, Sheffield United lost, Sunderland lost, Bristol City lost, Coventry lost, Middlesbrough lost, all of the teams above us lost. West Brom were above us, now they're below us, they lost. So, if it's this year, it's this year. Don't wait for next season. Now, here's the thing. Coming back from Burnley, the last game of the season, the players' coach could fucking burst into flames and half the team could fucking die. If it's now, it's now. Do it now. And here's the thing: if you get in the playoffs, you get in the playoffs. If we don't win, if we don't get through to the final, then what happens? We've had 2 playoff semi-finals, and these young players, the assets that you're trying to big them up, build them up, sell them on, they're going to have experience in the playoffs. So when next season, if we fail in the playoffs this season, they'll have the experience for next season, and they'll know what they're doing. They'll know what it's about. They won't be scared. They know, okay, this is it. But here we go. Just a reminder as well, by the way. So at the moment, Bristol City are 5th and Coventry are 6th. But whoever is in 5th and 6th, once 5th and 6th, whoever's in that position, once they get to 69 points, it's over for us. Because we can't catch up to them. Because we've got inferior goal difference, so they can only get to 68. Once they get to 69, we're done. Or if we drop points next week, we're done. Regardless of whether they lose and don't get to 68 points, we're done. So first and foremost, we need to beat Swansea next week. Which is why I'm hoping that whether Andy Marshall, Steve Gallen, whoever is trying to get in an emergency goalkeeping loan. Not only that, but if you could double it up, let's say there's a goalkeeper at a club that may be out of contract in the summer. We need a new goalkeeper for next season because Jensen is injured for quite a long time. Achilles injury, he's out for 9 months minimum, which we'll find out about in a minute. But So we need to sign a new goalkeeper for next season anyway. So you could use this game and maybe the game next week as a trial for a goalkeeper who's going to be out of contract in the summer, who's looking to move. They can come to us on emergency loan, and then this is like an audition. You come in, you train with the squad, you play a game. Did we win the game? How did you play? Okay, you can come into the squad next season. So there you go. So this is where we stand at the moment. We're on 63 points. We're equal with Middlesbrough. They are above us on goal difference of a 9 goal difference. No, that's 11 goal difference. We're 3 points behind Coventry and 4 points behind Bristol City. Now, realistically, if we were to sneak in there, highly unlikely. I think we're sneaking into 6. I don't think we can overcome both of them. You know, if we do, the luck will be off the charts. You know, that would really be spooky if we were to, you know, get into 5th place with 69 points. If we do get into the 6th position on 69 points, however, we will be playing Sheffield United. Sheffield United and Sunderland, you know, their form has gone to shit and they're stuck where they are. Sheffield United stuck in 3rd. They can't go up. It's been confirmed today that Leeds and Burnley are getting promoted. Sheffield United, they can't drop down. And the same with Sunderland. Sunderland can't go up to 3rd and they can't drop down to 5th. So Sheffield United will be playing the team that finishes 6th in the playoff semi-final. And Sunderland will be playing the team that finishes 5th in the playoff semi-finals, which, again, to remind you, are on the 8th and 9th of May and the 12th and 13th of May. They will all be night games. They are not on a weekend. I believe it's on a Thursday and a Friday and a Monday and a Tuesday. So, you know, in terms of travelling, obviously we need to get there first. But, I mean, Sheffield United, Sheffield is quite an easy place to get to, I would say. So, you know, why not? Now, casting an eye ahead to next week, we are, for some reason, Swansea, even though they've got nothing to play for, have decided to go on the insanest of winning runs. Why are they doing that? I don't know. But, if we look through the games, now this is the last game. So today, they beat QPR 2-1. Okay. They beat Hull 1-0. They beat Sunderland away 1-0. Okay, that Sunderland, decent team. But, you know, they are in limbo at the moment. They beat Plymouth at home 3-0. They beat Derby at home 1-0. So they've been beating the teams in the lower half of the table. So even though they are on a winning run, the draw was away at Leeds, so that is, you know, that's interesting. So even though they are on a winning run, they've been playing teams at the shit end of the table. But again, much like the Blackburn game last week, they are 3 points behind us. If they beat us, it means they could go above us. So again, you know, it's like, you can't catch a break, can you? You know, you can't have an easy game. You've got, it's always something with this division, isn't it? It's always something. So it's not going to be easy, but I mean, I imagine it's going to be a packed house. It is a 3 p.m. kickoff. They haven't changed the kickoff time. You know, it's the last home game of the season. We'll see how they go. If we look ahead to, you know, obviously at this point in time, we still need other results to go our way. So let's see what everyone else is doing next weekend. Coventry are going away to Luton. That's an early kickoff. So obviously, by the time we kick off, we'll know if Coventry have won or lost that game. Middlesbrough are home to Norwich. Now, we've just played Norwich and they're fucking dog shit. So, again, looks, I would probably bank on Middlesbrough to win that. In fact, the odds here, you can see it's 1.57 for Middlesbrough to win and 5 for Norwich to win, which is insanely high. for a 3-horse race in that you can win, draw, or lose. Yeah, that's bizarre. What was the other team we're chasing? Bristol City. How were they? Oh, now here we go. Bristol City are away to Leeds on Monday. Now remember, Leeds and Burnley are still playing for the title. And Burnley are playing Saturday morning, and Leeds having the advantage of playing Monday night. So they'll know if they'll need to win that. And obviously, if Burnley lose away at QPR or drop points, then that takes the pressure off Leeds. But if they don't, Leeds will need to win this game. So fear not. Now what may happen, obviously, it could be the situation that if we beat Swansea, Coventry, they could get something out of that game. And then it could come down to the last day of the season. So let's say Middlesbrough beat Norwich, they get 66, they jump up. Let's say Coventry lose, Bristol City lose, or Coventry get a draw away at... Let's say Coventry get a draw away at Luton, that's going to be 67. So it'll be 67, 67, 66 with Middlesbrough. And then if we win, it's 66. So, I mean, we could go into the last... Now, reminder, obviously, these games have already been moved. Burnley away has already been moved. I think they'll decide some point this week, maybe Friday or Monday. I think Friday. No, Thursday or Friday. Whether the Burnley game will be on television or not. Because they will move it for TV. I think they're all going to be on Sky Sports Plus, but they might move it for the TV channel. But it's already been... The kickoff's already at 12:30 anyway for all the games on Saturday morning. So we could find ourselves in a situation where we get 66 points, Middlesbrough get 66, and then you've got Bristol City and Coventry on 67. So you'd have 4 teams, a point apart, two on 67, 2 on 66. Blackburn, who have Blackburn got? Will they be in the shout? They got what? They might win that. So they'll be on 65. Could they still make it? They could still make it. Be very unlikely, but so yeah. Can you believe it? Obviously, we have to beat Swansea, but we could set it up for an absolute ding-dong 4-way tie on the final day of the season, which is probably going to be better than the championship race, because that's just 2 teams. The relegation places, well, that's pretty tight as well. I mean, damn. But again, you can see Luton, they need the points. They won 2 games in a row, so they've started to win. They can win. So hopefully they beat Coventry, and that would be fantastic. But even if Luton could get a draw against Coventry, that will set up a decent ending to the season. By the way, while we're here, while we're dreaming, let's have a look on this last day of the season. Obviously, we're away at Burnley. Oh, Coventry versus Middlesbrough. They both can't win. They both can't win. This is what I'm saying. If it's now, if it's supposed to be now, then do it now. Do it this season. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. Who else? Well, Sheffield United, Blackburn. I wouldn't count on Sheffield United to beat them. They'll probably be... That guy's a fucking dickhead, isn't he? Wilder. He'll probably drop half the players, which hopefully the league will deduct them some points. But they'll probably do it for next season. Shouldn't be dropping points. Shouldn't be rotating the squad. But who else? Bristol City. Bristol City home to Preston. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Mate, obviously Preston still in some aspects have got links to Alex Neil. I don't know if you can have a word with him. Zoom in and give them a team talk. But yeah. There you go. Can you imagine? Why not? So now let's move on to talking points from southernnews.co.uk. Talking points from Millwall's emphatic 3-1 win against Norwich City. Well, I wish it would have been more emphatic, because thinking obviously that we've got George Evans in goal and maybe George Long would be in goal for them, I put £100 on there being over 4.5 goals. Because I expected, in my pre-match prediction, I thought it might be 3-3 draw. Ended up being a 3-1 win, and that would have given me £700. So you can imagine that it's a 3-1. I'm just kind of, someone score. Every time it's going to a goal, come on, score, someone score. We score, they score, anybody score. But it wasn't to be, and then, the cash out they were offering me was going down and down and down. I was like, so I cash out now for 140, or just let it ride for 700. So, fuck it, £40. Because I would, if somebody had scored, I would have been absolutely gutted that I only cashed out for a £40 profit and missed out on 700. So, just let it fucking ride, mate. In a game between two sides, readying themselves for another year of Championship football in the 25-26 season, with Mill's playoffs hopes hanging by a thread. But they are still hanging, my brother. They are still hanging. The Lions prevailed in a dominant 3-1 win over Norwich City to mark their fourth consecutive victory at the Den. Mihailo Ivanovic opened the scoring in the 8th minute after Femi Aziz's cross deflected in off his knee, and Aziz doubled Mill's lead 30 minutes later when he nodded in George Saville's set piece. Norwich pulled one back right before half-time after Shane Duffy scored a thumping header from a corner, but Ivanovic restored the Lions' 2-goal cushion when he rose above his marker and headed home Saville's corner. Before we get to that, I just realised something as well. So obviously, the thing with the club is, they're buying in these young players, the assets, they're building them up. If we get into the playoffs this season, what do you think that's going to do to the value of the assets? That we've got this young striker that's coming from Serbia, and he's absolutely fucking romped it home. What do you think that's going to do to his value if we get in the playoffs? Do you think this is going to go up or exactly? So why are you waiting? Because if you're aiming for 2030, I can almost certainly guarantee that Ivanovic won't be here in 2030. That other players won't be here in 2030 because you would have sold them. Because the model is you bring them in, you play them, get them some experience, some decent coaching, and then you sell them on for a profit. What do you think is going to happen to their value if we get in the playoffs? Even if we don't get promoted. So, you know what I mean? Come on. Don't shit the bed, Millwall. Not the players, the people in charge. Get in a fucking goalkeeper on an emergency loan. Get the players fit as you can, and let's fucking go for it next weekend. Controlling the game without the ball. One of the main narratives around Millwall in recent weeks has been their shift to a 4-4-2 formation, one that had yielded 4 wins in 5 prior to their Good Friday setback at Blackburn. Following their 4-1 defeat at Ewood Park, Alex Neil emphasised the importance of trying to strike a balance between attacking threat and midfield control, an issue which can plague teams who opt to play the 4-4-2. While the absence of central midfielder Billy Mitchell may have concerned some Millwall fans before the game, the Lions almost enacted Neil's game plan to perfection, especially in the first half. Until Duffy's header, the Lions had restricted Norwich to half chances. Meanwhile, their own threat at the other end of the pitch spoke for itself in the form of 2 goals in the opening 45 minutes, and Mill finished the half with 6 shots to the Canaries' 3. The Lions resumed the second half with the same intensity, looking dangerous with every attack in the opening stages. Norwich boss Johannes Hoff-Forup reacted just after the hour mark with a triple substitution, withdrawing top scorer Borja Sanz, much to the Spaniards' dismay. However, these changes provided no relief for Norwich as Ivanovic soon restored Millwall's 2-goal lead in the 69th minute. By the 77th minute, the home supporters were serenading their team with olays as the Lions confidently moved the ball around the pitch, epitomising their dominance throughout the 90 minutes. It was an ensured display from Neil's side, who struck the perfect balance between control and attacking flair, registering 16 shots to Norwich's 4, making it 5 wins in 7 since their switch to a 4-4-2. Set pieces. Despite Mill's all-round control, it was their set-piece prowess that proved most decisive. George Savile's delivery was outstanding, contributing 2 assists from dead ball situations, and he was unlucky not to claim a third when Josh Coburn's header was ruled out for a tight offside. Savile stepping into Mitchell's role was instrumental in the 3-1 victory, beyond his role from set pieces, breaking up play with aggression and dictating tempo from deep on numerous occasions. At the other end, however, set pieces remained vulnerable. Duffy's goal from a Jacob Wright corner marked the 13th goal Millwall have conceded from such situations this season, accounting for nearly 30% of their total goals against. While there was much to admire in open play, it was set pieces, an area of strength and weakness in equal measure that ultimately swung the match in Millwall's favour, helping to keep them within touching distance of the top 6 with 2 games to play. Sturge at left back. Making his first league start since joining from Chelsea in January, Zach Sturge was handed a chance at left back in place of Ryan Leonard and did not disappoint. After a nervy start, the 20-year-old quickly showed he was not afraid to impose himself on proceedings, proving instrumental in Mill's press in a dominant first-half display. He continued to push forward in the second half, with Aziz willingly providing cover when needed. His long balls forward also caused real problems for Norwich, with Ivanovic and Coburn keen to make runs in behind throughout the 90 minutes. Furthermore, Sturge showcased his defensive skill and physical prowess on numerous occasions, that most notably coming as he shoved Norwich's Oscar Schwarter off the ball, much to the delight of the Millwall supporters in first half stoppage time. While Sturge's full debut may have been deserving of a clean sheet, his performance was a hugely encouraging one, and fans may be hoping Millwall can negotiate a loan extension come the summer transfer window. Tanganga's return. Back into the side for the first time since breaking his hand in Mill's 2-1 win over Portsmouth, Japhet Tanganga returned to central defence with Tristan Kramer shifting to right back. The 26-year-old wasted little time making an impact. A strong sliding challenge from Tanganga following a corner in the 12th minute, won back possession from Millwall and allowed Aziz to cross the ball into Ivanovic, who couldn't quite convert the chance. It was a textbook example of the aggression intensity that has made Tanganga a fan favourite at the Den. Despite facing Norwich's potent attack of Borja Sands and Josh Sargent, who have 17 and 14 goals to their names this season respectively, Tanganga and the rest of the defence were able to keep them relatively quiet. Their only threatening link-up came in the 32nd minute when Sains fed Sargent off a long ball, only for the American to curl an effort just past the left-hand post of George Evans' goal. Whilst not a standout performance from Tanganga, he slotted back into defence very comfortably, helping Millwall to claim a victory, which just about keeps them in the running for a playoff place. Yep. Now, post-match comments from Alex Neil. This should be fun. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk, the South London Press. Emphatic response. Millwall pulled themselves back into the Championship playoff equation. Millwall kept their Championship playoff hopes alive with a commanding 3-1 victory over Norwich City at Den on Easter Monday, bouncing back strongly from their Good Friday defeat at Blackburn. It's alive! He's alive! Head coach Alex Neil facing his former club. Another one? How many's he got? Was full of praise for the Lions' response after their Ewood Park reverse, as a brace from Mihajlo Ivanovic and a goal from Femi Aziz secured a 4th consecutive home win. With other results going their way, Millwall are 3 points behind 6th place Coventry City ahead of Saturday's clash with Swansea City. Ivanovic opened the scoring. Yeah, we know all this. Yada 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 yada. I don't need to go through all that again. Yeah. Friday was just a game too far for us in terms of intensity that we put into so many matches, said Neil. Physically, we were stretched as a squad. A lot of the lads have come back and have played lots of games. It's been tough, but they've done so well, so it's hard to be critical. We were all disappointed with Blackburn. However, when we've had a setback, the response has been emphatic. That was one of our best performances in terms of effort and chances created. And we were a dominant team throughout the match. And, Norwich are a good side. They've got good attacking players. And they're the second highest scorers in this league. So that threat is always there. But we had to focus on winning the game for obvious reasons. Neil was quick to highlight the structure of his team compared to the one that went out at Blackburn. I felt like the balance was much, much better today. We didn't play enough at Blackburn. If you don't play enough, you don't drag another midfield player through and they stay intact. And we were too direct, and we didn't win enough duels. Today, the two centre forwards were a real handful because we played behind them and we dragged an extra midfield player out. The way players offered something different, Tristan overlaps Luke on the one side, and Zach supports from behind on the other. And Zach was starting his first game at this level, and George was playing the second, having just conceded 4 away from home. And we've had loads to contend with, but we haven't cried about it or felt sorry for ourselves. We've dusted ourselves down and we put the lads that are available into the team, and they've done brilliantly. It's now 11 championship goals for Ivanovic since he's moved from Serbia in the summer, and Neil praised the striker. He's grown as a player. He's leading the line better, his understanding of when to go and press has improved, and his movement in the box is something I've been onto him about since I came here. And you can see now with the chances he's getting, that's improved hugely. We need to bear in mind though that, this kid's 20 years old, he's come from a foreign country and he's had to learn all about the league. And that's 12 goals now, which is a great achievement for him personally. But for us, we have to credit both strikers. Josh Coburn was outstanding today and they both bounced off each other really well. I would say, the improvement in Ivanovic seemed to coincide with playing 2 up front. When he had to play 1 up front on his own at 20 years old in a foreign league that he wasn't used to. He didn't grow up watching it. He probably watches the Premier League in Serbia. Didn't watch fucking Championship. He didn't watch us on LWT or Thames TV or Setanta Sports. He wasn't watching us. He wasn't watching, the Championship. Watching the Premier League maybe. Or Serie A. But, But once you've gone 2 up front, he's playing a lot better. And that, so then that means you have to give some. Is that because Coburn is the other one up front, or could you put Langstaff up there and it's the same thing? I don't know. I certainly think Coburn is better than Langstaff, but we'll see how we go. Now we got this, as we've just seen, praise for Ivanovic. We've got a dedicated story about that praise from the southernnews.co.uk. He's just grown as a player. Millboss praises Mihajlo Ivanovic after the striker scores a brace against Norwich City. No hat-trick yet. No hat-trick. Alex Neil praised Mihajlo Ivanovic for his improvement after the Serbian striker scored a brace during Mill's 3-1 win against Norwich City today to take him to 12 goals on the season. Ivanovic joined the lines for what was at the time a club record 3 from Vojvodina last summer transfer window and is Mill's top goal scorer in his first season at the club. He's been in particularly good form of late, scoring 6 goals in his last 7 games. Indeed, why is that? He scored his second brace of the campaign against the Canaries, with his first goal giving the Lions the lead after he instinctively tapped in off his knee following Femmes' deflected cross, and the second a header from a corner to restore Mill's 2-goal cushion in the second half. Neil credited him for improving in this campaign, and it's the exact same quote that I just read. So now moving on to this. Jensen is injured. This was put up this morning. And then there's another story like the next up that's got a bit more detail. This was put up this morning. No, it wasn't this morning. When was it? It was when the team was announced. So I think what they did at the club, when they gave the team sheets to the press in the press area, they probably gave them a memo that said, this player's injured, this player's injured, this player is actually injured with this injury and he's out for this amount of time. Because when the team was announced, then we got this put up onto the internet and the World Wide Web. www. Major injury blow for Millwall's goalkeeper Jensens poised for lengthy spell on sidelines. So this is going into next season, maybe for the rest of the year, going into the year after, which is 2026. Mill goalkeeper Lukas Jensen is set to be missing for a lengthy period of time after suffering an Achilles injury. The Danish stopper did not feature in Friday's 4-1 championship loss to Blackburn Rovers. Jensen and backup Liam Roberts, in parentheses hip flexor, are both unavailable, and that meant youngster George Evans played at Ewood Park. Millwall are yet to put a timescale on Jensens' injury, but is set to mean an extended spell on the sidelines, which could also force them to strengthen that position in the summer transfer window. Again, as I was saying, use this thing that we've got now to get this 7-day emergency loan to try out a goalkeeper who can come in the summer. This is like an audition. The 26-year-old was signed from Lincoln City in July. The Lions suffered the shock passing of Matija Sarkic in the summer, and Jensen arrived to take on the number 1 spot. He has kept 15 clean sheets in 43 matches in all competitions. Jensen's last action of the season was shut out in a 1-0 victory over Middlesbrough at the Den. He made a vital late save to deny Marcus Forss. Asked by the South London Press last week to assess Jensen's first campaign with the Lions, head coach Alex Neil said, "Well, he's grown in stature and in confidence in himself in terms of what he's capable of at this level. And he's really quite ambitious, which is a good thing, you know. He's not just content just being a good goalkeeper at Champions level. He wants to push himself. And there are aspects of his game which have improved enormously this season. I still think there are aspects of his game we need to try and get a bit better. You know, overall, he's had a great season, and more importantly, you know, Saturday wasn't one of those games where it was save after save after save. Sometimes when you need a goalkeeper on a moment, they're the ones that get your points. Lukas certainly helped us to get points at the weekend. That's the thing there. Realistically, can you say that about George Evans? He's a 19-year-old kid. I'm not taking him out. Can he do that? I don't think so. So that's why I'm saying we need this goalkeeper loan. On a number of occasions, Millwall players have urged Jensen to sweep off his line more aggressively. I think he's... Millwall players? You mean Tanganga? There seems to be a little tete-a-tete between Tanganga and Jensen at times. Neil said, "It's a decision for him to make. We do want him to be starting high, so, you know, if they do decide to put the ball in behind us, the gap between him and the defence isn't too big. He's quite comfortable doing that. What we always say to him is once he gets there, if a pass is on, fine. But if he feels he needs to be cleared of danger, then do so. You know, from crosses, it's just growing in confidence to come and collect the ball, understanding when there's traffic and when there isn't traffic. There's loads of different dynamics, how far the cross is, the player's in his way, and they've got a key header of the ball that does he need to get involved. I've seen enough improvement in a short space of time that all the bits we feel Lukas needs to improve on, it's pretty certain that they're going to happen." Well, are they? Obviously, this was said about, 2 weeks ago. Well, he now needs to come back from injury, and then he needs to get back fit, and then he needs to start improving on his game. So, yeah. And, you know, he's kicking he's done his Achilles on what leg? Is it his kicking leg? Because then, now his kicking was bad enough to start with. How's his kicking going to be? Maybe it's going to force him to, you know, play it short. He might have to play it short. He doesn't have the power in his leg, or he's worried about it going again. I don't know. So obviously that was before the game. This is after the game from the same publication, londonnewsonline.co.uk, the South London Press, who, by the way, are also on TikTok. Millwall boss on a ruptured Achilles injury for goalkeeper Jensen plus double midfielder blow. So, Achilles tendon ruptured. So, that's the one that goes down the back of your ankle. And I believe that sometimes when it snaps, it makes a pretty loud sound. And you're looking around thinking, what the fuck was that? And then you see someone on the ground writhing in pain. It was that. That noise, that bang, that twang, that was his Achilles tendon blowing up. Millwall boss Alex Neil has confirmed that goalkeeper Lukas Jensen has suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon, which is likely to rule him out for a significant portion of next season. The Danish shot-stopper, who joined the Lions from Lincoln City last summer, was absent from the squad during Millwall's 4-1 defeat to Blackburn Rovers. Following the Lions' 3-1 victory over Norwich City this afternoon, head coach Neil provided an update on the club's number one. Lukas Jensen has ruptured his Achilles tendon. Liam Roberts, who's our second goalkeeper, is not available, so we've got young George in goal. As for how long Lukas will be, it's not long term. It's not as long term as a ruptured Achilles takes, which is not soon. I'd have thought he would be missing for a fair chunk of next season. So it's as long term as a ruptured Achilles takes, which is not soon. Okay. Neil also revealed further injury concerns ahead of the final 2 games of the Championship season, with midfielders Billy Mitchell and George Honeyman set to be sidelined. Billy felt his cuff at Blackburn, which is why I took him off, said the Lions chief. Then George, just before we went into some 11v11 stuff yesterday, he stretched for the ball and felt his hamstring. Unfortunately, both couldn't make it, and I think they'll struggle to feature in the last 2 games. So Billy's out for the rest of the season. George is out for the rest of the season. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. But again, what is this doing? What is this doing? It's forcing you to play the assets. Zach Sturge, obviously he's not our asset, it's Chelsea asset. Is RBW going to be fit? Is he coming back? If he gets fit and he plays, and then we get into the playoffs, and then he plays in the playoffs, and he has a blinder, ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. You've just put a couple £1 million on his head. So don't be like, oh, we can't get into the playoffs this season. We don't want, it's too dangerous. We're gonna have to spend all this money if we go up. So fucking what, man? If it's now, it's now. Do it now. Don't fucking wait. And on that note, no, we're not finishing. I'm going to talk about, we got an opinion piece because we won today and everybody else lost, which again then pushes us forward that, man, maybe this is going to happen. We have an opinion piece from an American website, Americano, Gringo, CBSSports.com, who, if you didn't know, they've got the rights to the Championship. They show it on their app, I think. Is it on their... No, I think on their television channel. And it's on Paramount Plus, which I think is owned by the same company that owns CBS. I don't know. There's all kinds of mergers and acquisitions going on. I know it's certainly not ESPN, because that's ABC, isn't it? Which is owned by Disney. So, they say, what if Millwall get promoted? Question mark? Controversial club would bring an edge to the Premier League, welcomed or not. Yeah, we know. That's why we want it. And that's why we know we're going to go out for a season and come straight back down. It's going to be a fun old time, isn't it? For us and for them. But especially for us. I would imagine, it's going to be a jolly old time. Millwall's checkered past would follow them to the top flight if they could earn a miracle promotion as the season winds down. What I think could happen, and this could be the death of the Premier League, and I'm not underestimating that. In the Premier League, there is all kinds of shit that goes on between fans in the Premier League of Premier League teams, week in and week out, and it doesn't get blown up. It doesn't get talked about. They don't talk about it. They brush it under the carpet. They try to pretend it doesn't happen. Sometimes you get little clips that they go on to Twitter and stuff. They go around social media of things that happen inside the ground and outside the ground. But it isn't blown up by the press and the media. They hush it up. Once we go up there, every week they will be writing about the most blandest thing, any little thing that happens with Millwall fans at a game, outside the game, at a train station on the way to the game. Anything that gets recorded and put onto social media will be blown up. And what they'll find is they'll get a lot of views for this. And then some of them, maybe, because, they can't help themselves. Even if the Premier League told them, look, you're ruining our fucking brand, stop fucking doing this, they would still do it. They would still do it. They cannot help themselves. They cannot help themselves. So what will happen then? Some of them will start reporting on this other stuff that happens at other Premier League teams. And they're like, oh, we've got a real football violence problem in the Premier League. And then, it will cascade down. But So, long shot it may be, but with 2 games plus the playoffs to go, Millwall's ascension from the Championship remains a live prospect. Ascension. A club like few, if any others in the English game, with a fan base who love nothing more than the distaste their club engenders in others in the top flight. If nothing else, it would make the 25-26 Premier League unlike any other. It's still unlikely to come to that, but the prospect is altogether more alive at the end of Easter Monday than it was at the start. The incumbents of the last 2 playoff spots, Coventry City and Bristol City, were both felled by relegation-threatened opponents. Middlesbrough on the outside looking in ended up with nothing to show from their trip to Sheffield Wednesday. Meanwhile, Alex Neil's side more than kept up to their end of the bargain, responding to a bruising defeat at Blackburn on Good Friday with a resounding 3-1 win at home to Norwich. They will still need more breaks to see. They don't understand, because in America they always list the away team first. So say like New York Giants at the New York Jets, even though I shouldn't use that as an example because they play in the same ground, but you know what I'm talking about. They will still need more breaks to go their way. With 2 games to go, they sit 3 points out of 6 with an inferior goal difference. They will need at least one of Coventry or Bristol City to drop points in both games. If Middlesbrough win out, they would likely need 5th and 6th to collapse. All that while beating Swansea and Burnley in their remaining games. Well, I've just shown you, Coventry have to play Middlesbrough. And Coventry have to play Luton. It's not in the realms of possibility. Impressive win over Norwich. On Monday's evidence, the latter is not behind the realms of possibility. Millwall have now won 5 of the last 7 at a stage of the season where momentum seems to be the Championship's most valuable commodity. Their performance against Norwich couldn't help but inspire wondering of what might happen if they both make the playoffs and win at Wembley. Here's the thing. Obviously, this is an American website now. The reason why they're probably eyes on this game is that Norwich have an American striker, Josh Sargent's. What's this? They got a quote here. The way they approach the game is like grassroots football for the professional game, says CBS Sports analyst Nigel Reo-Coker. What? A man who knows all too well how tough an away assignment Millwall is. Oh, they would bring an electric atmosphere and underdog energy. As their song goes, no one likes them, they don't care. You know, it's the club that's from the wrong side of the tracks and they're proud of it. You know, they love being the underdog, love facing adversity and being against the world. You know, the atmosphere for the Premier League in every game would be utterly electric. And you couldn't put it into words, you'd have to be there in the stadium. In pure footballing terms, Millwall would make for an intriguing counterbalance to so many others in the league. If footballing philosophies often put one in mind of inverted fullbacks, ball-playing centre-backs and a coveting of possession above almost anything else, Millwall are a reminder that identity can be about more than pretty passing and neatly coordinated moves. Perhaps they could play keep ball, but it would not be very Millwall. On the field, they reflect who the club have been off it. You know, the caricatures of hooliganism have become exactly that, but the Lions take pride in their anachronism, in going against the grain and winding up the other team. When it's all in harmony, the den rules. Norwich averaged the second most possession in the Championship going into this game. Mill's response was simple. If you want the ball, keep it. We won't need it for long. Hit the big men up top, get the ball out to the flanks and win your duels. When it works as well as it did today, Millwall's football is a thrill to watch and a nightmare to play against. A high-pressing front line forced a mistake from the team in yellow inside just 8 minutes. The sort of clumsy flick around the corner to no one in particular that you couldn't imagine is in the Millwall training manual. One crossed and another rained on the Norwich goal. Femias is hitting what seemed to be an unsuspecting Mihailovanovic. The Den didn't care, cheering their big fucking Serbian to the rafters. They know what they like around these parts. It wouldn't be the last occasion they showed their adoration of the 20-year-old from Novi Sad. So this is kind of like a match report as well. For all of Norwich's possession, they could scarcely find a way through the Millwall line, failing to register a shot until American Josh Sargent curled wide with half an hour to play. A Shane Duffy header from a dead ball gave them hope just before the break, but they were never about to win a set-piece match with Millwall. Ultimately, it would be the last shot the throttled Canaries took. The excellent Aziz had flicked home one corner in the first half. 6'2" Ivanovic would get a second for himself and third for Millwall in the second half. As news filtered in of results from elsewhere, the Den's anticipation was palpable. 2 more wins, and who knows, perhaps a third season in the top flight after that brief flirtation between 1988 and 1990. What would they bring to the Premier League? ? Given the reputation of Millwall's travelling fans that might give some in the Premier League sleepless nights, it must be noted that the club has worked tirelessly to distance itself from the worst of its fan base to reach out to the communities in South London who would never dream to enter the Den in the 70s or 80s. Its community trust is award-winning, working tirelessly to promote inclusion in Southwark. The club has adapted to its neighbourhood of Bermondsey. The route to the Den might be foreboding, but once you're outside, it's the same rich tapestry of craft beers, burger bars, and insipid oasis on the speakers. So it sounds like he was at the game. He actually went to the game. Still, the edges have not been entirely smoothed, as Jean-Philippe Mateta, not only the victim of an accidental knock to the head by goalkeeper Liam Roberts, but also the subject of merciless chanting in its aftermath, can attest there can be a cruel sense of humour to the Millwall repertoire. On Monday, every Norwich throw-in was greeted with a surge of jeers, a misplaced pass drawing almost as much delight as an own goal. Few grounds do show them further like this one. In the Premier League, it might get a bit more... What the fuck is that word? I don't even know what that means. I'm quite the wordsmith myself, don't you know? And I don't even know what the fuck that means. In the Premier League, it might get a bit more vituperative. Vituperative. I'll look that up after the video. Certainly when West Ham come to town. Their rivalry with Millwall is a sort of... Yes! I hadn't even thought of that. We're going to be at London Stadium. The first game at London Stadium between Millwall and West Ham. What a day that'll be. What, you think that'll be like midweek kickoff at like 12 in the afternoon? Their rivalry with Millwall is as hostile as it gets in the English game, one dating back to the days of dock workers competing for business as well as results. At its worst, as in the 2009 riots where 20 people were injured, matters on the pitch fell like an irrelevance. Those who have played in that grudge match, however, do not end up with that much, with that impression. I remember lots of police, a raw electric atmosphere, a deep and passionate rivalry. You're one of the greatest in English football, says Rio Coca, whose West Ham side lost 1-0 at the Den in 2004. It's a pride game, a hatred game even. Both clubs would probably say they don't care how the rest of the season goes, as long as they win that one game. The pressure was always on the players to perform, and the players knew it. Of course, it's heavily policed and segregated because it's raw hatred. The noise was non-stop, constant singing. It was like grassroots football at a professional level, raw passion. Every tackle mattered, every throw-in. It was an emotional, electric energy for 90 minutes where you didn't want to end up on the losing side. The Met Police might not have such fond memories of the derby, nor would they like to relish another season that pits Millwall against Leeds, a game rife with enmity from the days of duelling hooligan throws from the 1980s. The last meeting between Chelsea and Millwall in 1995 required the intervention of mounted police. Chelsea's Crystal Palace's next visit after the Mateta incident would also be contentious. I think if he got sold, I don't think, although him personally hasn't acted with impunity really, rather than agreeing to wear that stupid bandage on his ear for the Sky interview. The words that he said out of his mouth has been quite... he's acted quite decently, but I think the chairman will get some stick. The lines in the top flight, they're not without its complications, and for the time being, still a rather unlikely conclusion to the 24-25 season, were it come to pass. However, you can rest assured that the Premier League would not have seen anything like Millwall. I think probably the closest would be maybe Blackpool. You imagine, Blackpool, they're not really like Millwall, but I think they're the closest in terms of they're quite a small team, and they do have an element to them. Not obviously not at the same level as Millwall. That if you go to a Blackpool Preston game, it's going to be a bit lively, but that they ain't seen nothing like it. You ain't seen nothing yet. So that's an American website talking about the EFL, because they cover the EFL. Now, match-worn shirts from a game that we actually won. Can you believe it? So yeah, this is from millwallfc.co.uk. Bid on a match-worn shirt from Millwall versus Norwich City. So there you go. Match-worn shirts from Millwall's win over Norwich City are now available to bid on. Mihailo Ivanovic 2 and Femi Aziz scored the goals as the Lions secured a fourth straight win at the Den, and their tops could be yours. Auctions close on Tuesday the 29th of April. So what's that? In a week. You got a week. You have a week. And here we go. This is the website matchwornshirt.com. We'll start off with the most expensive at the moment. Jake Cooper, £200. Ivanovic, 2 goals, only £155. George Saville, £150. That's a shock. He's third place. Femi Aziz, £120. Tanganga, 120. Kramer, 100. A squad shirt signed by the squad, 64 quid. Casper De Noor, 64 quid. George Evans, pink shirt, 60 quid. And then it drops off. £29. Luke Condell, £29. Zach Sturge, £21. Josh Coburn. And again, it's just the starting 11, so... Man, you guys really don't like Josh Coburn, do you? You really don't. I don't understand what the hate for Josh Coburn. Although he should have cleared it off the line today, but I mean... But that's cheaper than the club shop. So is that. Although, to be he probably wears XL, I'd imagine. He's quite a big lad, isn't he? As in tall, not fat. Now, a little update. I've got some information for Wednesday. Obviously, the under-21s are trying to win the league. I'm keeping you up to date with that. Because, that's what we do. This is from Bristol City's website, bcfc.co.uk. This is the match report from their last under-21s game. At the bottom of it, it says, next up, the under-21s host Millwall at the High Performance Centre on Wednesday, April the 23rd at 1 p.m. This game will be played behind closed doors with no access to supporters, and that's in bold. So obviously, every now and then they play the games here, and they let fans in. Sometimes they don't, and they've decided, it's Millwall. We're not going to let the Millwall fans or Bristol City fans in for this game. It is what it is. You got to do, what can you do? Rather worryingly, though, they seem to think the game kicks off at 1 p.m. And all other sources, Millwall website and other independent sources, have the game kicking off at 2 p.m. So I don't know if someone needs to give them a call and remind them what time the game kicks off. Because we don't want them trying to get Millwall in trouble for turning up late to a game. That game, obviously, I don't think they show it. They do have their own TV channel. They certainly don't show the games on YouTube. Maybe it will be on Millwall TV. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But, it's behind closed doors, so you can't go there. We'll see what happens. We'll see. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.